nataka kuambia chebukati Is Mkale mluhya. Yaani chebukati yeye ni Mkale na yeye mluhya. So ujue yeye ni cousin ya William Ruto. Si cousin ya Watangula. If you approve, like the video, share the video, subscribe the channel called Fungi TV. Chebukati iko relative to William Ruto. Go and find out. Take it to the court. Chebukati ni cousin ya William Ruto. Take it to the court. Chebukati si relative na Watangula, hapana. Chebukati ni relative ya William Ruto. Na Chebukati is a name Kalenjin and Waluya. Chebukati kama Sakaja is Mluhya Mkale. Chebukati is Mluhya Mkale. Take it to the bank. Tafadhali like the video, share the video, and subscribe the channel. IEBC Chairman and IEBC CEO wote wanafanyia kazi William Ruto. Sasa hii video alafu kaniambia. Assalamu to the IEBC Chairperson.
And paid close attention to Marjan Hussein Marjan, the CEO of IEBC. And I have one message to Raila Odinga. IEBC is out to punish you. And I also have a message to President Kenyatta. If you don't monitor IEBC, you are going to be embarrassed. For those who follow, Marjan Hussein Marjan came out and sold himself out. He talked of Mama Mboga almost 5 times during the interview. Not by coincidence, saying the manual register. And they are giving, they can't themselves explain. But for me, that's not the issue. My main worry is that what will happen if in the register there are 700 people, 650, I'm looking voted, but then someone somewhere decided that in each they're going to use algorithm, and that algorithm is going to 10 votes to Kenya Kwanza and say deduct to Raila Odinga. If that is done across the country, it's game over. And that's why Raila Odinga is the manual register, so that it will be confirmed that in this particular polling station, these people voted, they were identified, but polling were not identified electronically, and therefore they were identified manually. So IEBC no manual register, and they are in agreement. Let us go to the photos. The truth of the matter is that politics is a game of perception. And the other truth is that a lot of things normally influence. When the issue of the running mates and their photos came up, Kenya Kwanza objected. The second people who objected, why were they objecting? To vote for Martha Karua and not Rigathi Gachagua. The women and maybe the people of the mountain. So IEBC is in complete agreement with the Tanga on that. I think the court also issued some ruling on that. Then go and look at Joseph Sankaja's clearance. The court order came late, but IEBC had already his name. What about Sonko? Sonko had stopped IEBC, and he received the orders from going ahead with the Mombasa list. His name was missing. The court already made a ruling, but there are questions there. What about the printing of ballot papers without the Gazette secretaries went outside them? Printing of ballot papers without the Gazette. I did. Someone can actually go to court. Serious issue. Chebukati and Marjan were responding to it. That's more matter. You know, there is no way you can go to an election. Let's say Raila Odinga going into this election with questions about returning officers that out of 42 Kenyan tribes, and they are distributed. 19 are from the Kalenjin nation, and they are distributed strategically in certain regions. Committee, UDA and Kenya Kwanza Brigades opposed that committee, led IEBC in opposing. So it's going to be interesting. And the most interesting thing was the involvement of the cabinet secretaries on campaigns. In the last election, Wafula Chebukati was very clear that cabinet secretaries are the only government officials who are exempted from campaigns. Then all the cabinet secretaries went outside there and campaigned. For this election, Wafula Chebukati had a different idea. According to him, these guys are not supposed to campaign. I remember that was in 2016. Sometimes last year. And I remember Kenyans reminding him about 2016-2017 election. But why would Wafula Chebukati frustrate Raila Odinga or appear to work against Raila Odinga? I have only 3 reasons, then I'll leave. Number one, I think it's his closeness with the DP. There is a relationship which didn't start yesterday between Wafula Chebukati and William Ruto. I don't think Wafula Chebukati is more closer to the senator for Bungoma, but his link to Ruto can be traced. And that cannot be persuaded, even if he were not really to do certain things. The fact that they have that history. Number 2 is the ghost of 2013 and 2017 election, specifically 2017, which Wafula Chebukati presided over. Raila Odinga was so hard on Wafula Chebukati and Marjan. These guys never forgave Raila Odinga. So now it's payback time. They're now actually paying Raila Odinga. And lastly, I think the way IEBC was recruited in the previous election, and the fact that new commissioners were brought on board, and these new commissioners are perceived to be with Raila Odinga, I think Wafula Chebukati is now just doing these things the way he wants, just to prove a point. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye. First, that the stakeholders have. On the 2nd of June, the Deputy President and the Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate, William Ruto, said that a number... الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم حتى الأراضي ساموا رسولها للعزائم القول قول الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم حتى الأراضي ساموا رسولها للعزائم القول قول الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم حتى الأراضي. A number of his voters, about 1 million of them, had been moved from their polling stations to other polling stations. And in fact, the IEBC confirmed weeks later by even gazetting those places that they perceived the votes to have been moved, although you scale down the numbers from 1.1. The question is this is a player in this election. How did the team for Deputy President William Ruto know that his voters, not just voters being moved, he said his supporters have been moved from one location to the other? This was before the KPMG report. This was before even you spoke about the register. How did they know this happened, Chairman?
Yes, thank you, Ken. I don't know how they knew. Maybe that question should be addressed to the Deputy President who came up with the statement. But what I do know is that we had the KPMG report and the recommendations of that report, including the issue you're raising about the transfers, came as a result of that report. And that's how we address the issues after that. So how that information then was available to the candidate for Kenya Kwanza, I don't know.
But Chairman,
yeah.
The problem with this is this. This is a candidate in this election. You don't know how they knew. There are people who have access to your system. Do you think this information came from your system? Because you confirmed it later through even the KPMG report that indeed there are voters who had been moved. The concern, however, is not even about the voters. How he knew his voters were moved. Does it bother you that the candidate would have such details that later is confirmed by a report?
Let's put it this way. The information of 1 million is not correct. So let's start from there. So if we start from there, then we can say that if the information is not correct, then why are we worried about that information? Maybe perhaps the only thing we can talk about now is the fact that there was some cases of movement of transfers, which were very, very few cases. I think there were less than 5,000 cases. So if you look at that with the 1 million movement, you see, we are talking about two different things here.
But the admission, Chair, the admission is there was movement. How did that movement occur? The admission is, even if there were two voters, there was movement. How did it occur?
Now, that has been explained in the audit report. The Commission instituted investigations, and the report of the investigations came out last week. 5 officers of the Commission then were involved in that issue, and the file has since been taken to the DPP for further investigation and prosecution. So I think the report is there with the DPP, and that then explains how that movement took place. So I don't think the two issues then can be...
Chairman, whether you're saying that the Deputy President said it is 1 million, and you're saying that it is less than 5,000 or 5,000 thereabout, as my colleague Ken Mijungu puts it, is that that's an admission that probably somebody would use to say that and amplify the question of trust within yourselves as a commission, and actually put it out there that there are people who are leaking information to the main candidates outside there.
not, when you are running an organization, a lot of things happen. And I've just given you example of 5 officers who have been found wanting, and there's a report to the DPP. Perhaps when the DPP concludes investigations and prosecutes them, then we shall be able to know the details of that.
But also,
however,
Chairman, you agree?
Yeah.
You agree that there is an audit report that got to your table last week that you forwarded. Why would you not, in a process in a process like this one, where you know that there are trust questions in it, why would you not embrace Kenyans on such a matter, knowing that it is already causing consternation?
We did. We have press Kenyans. We held a press conference here, released the audit report, and we spoke to it. Maybe it didn't come to your attention, but we addressed the issue about the audit report and the issues around the transfers, which were...
Chairman, we'll get back to the specific issues about the audit report, but let's first of all conclude with the questions of trust.
All right, and this goes perhaps to the CEO, and it's in line with what my colleagues have asked. And perhaps to quote what the Deputy President said, he said, and I quote, many of those names are people from what we consider our strongholds, so there is a clear attempt to try monkey business. 28 days to the polls, can IEBC tonight say that it is not involved in any monkey business ahead of the polls?
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to correct the statement. That's not what the Deputy President said.
That's what he said on June 2nd.
He didn't say that his voters were moved. In fact, he said actually they were actually removed, not even moved.
No, he said many of those names are people from what we consider as our stronghold. Specific, wasn't he?
First of all, let's go to specificity. The 1 million he talked about was not about being transferred. He said were removed. And I said that I challenge anyone who has got evidence to that effect. Because I even said that we came from 2017 with a figure of 19.6 million voters. And we registered about 3.2 million. So if you add, and with the process that we did of removing the dead voters and those ones that had issues, it resulted to 22.1 million. So if you do your mathematics, you will see actually there was nothing wrong in terms of enrollments. The issue actually, when the issue was raised, the chairman actually said that the issue is not about voters being removed, it's about transfers. So actually pointed about transfers for their details. Some started complaining, and now we started to investigate internally what really happened. We personally, actually, me, I was the first one to write after we discussed the same in plenary. I wrote to all the county election managers that we are getting information regarding transfers, and we need to validate that. So we want them to actually check their records and report to us on the same. In fact, we even told them that you need to actually collect, the county election managers were informed to collect all the forms for transfers and actually deliver them to the CEO's office. That was the start of the investigation regarding these transfers. It is not because the Deputy President raised it, it's because we actually noticed it during verification process.
Open the server. What confidence are you assuring Kenyans that you will have the ability to open the server?
Yeah, that's a good question. First of all, I want to tell Kenyans tonight that the main server is at the polling station. That's where the focus is. That's where the media will be. That's where the agents of candidates will be. We are telling everybody the result is at the polling station.
Okay,
number one.
Chairman and CEO.
Let me first of all provide clarity on that issue, because I think it's creating some tension. Listen, in fresh presidential election, we did not wait to be asked to provide. We actually provided. So we are not going to wait to be asked. We will actually open that server.
And that was in the fresh. Why
Yes,
did you not
so
open before the fresh? Because the court wanted you to open.
Yes, okay, but so we learn from mistakes. We also make mistakes. So listen.
And that mistake was the elections were bungled, isn't it? It was a heavy mistake. You can just
listen. You want to focus on the negative side. Let us focus on the positive side.
It's accountability. It's not negativity, actually.
No, and that's why we are accountable for the same. We are telling you that. And the chairman explained that the reason why there was delay is because of the formalities. For you to be given access right today, there's a formality for you to do.
Was it difficult?
You have actually there are some formalities you have to to file an application, there are some forms that you need to file in order for you to be provided the access right. So it happened that it was provided late, but nevertheless we learned from that.
Okay, CEO.
Yes.
Now it's 3 minutes to 11. All these TV stations will hang me if I don't end this interview by 11 o'clock. So we have 2 questions. First, KPMG report, when are you releasing it? What is in that you don't want the people to know? And secondly, how will Kenyans follow the results of the presidential election at a time that no text results are being transmitted? We're just transmitting images. How would they follow from the National Tallying Center? What's going on? Any of you can take it.
And thirdly, as we finish this, there's the question of our elections and how they might get rowdy at times. And you have admitted that there's a probability that at one polling station there will only be one SD card. What if in the rowdy mess that happens, somebody runs away with a KMS kit that has the SD card?
Umesikiza mwenyewe, so maamuzi ni wako.